Hello there, and welcome to the channel. I'm so glad you found your way here tonight. Maybe you have had a long, exhausting day. Maybe the fields of your own life have been busy, the mines of your daily work have been noisy, or the rain has been tapping against your window since the early hours of morning. Or maybe you are simply the kind of person who likes drifting off to gentle stories about hidden islands, old weathered journals, quiet, colourful parrots, and the warm, steady glow of lantern light on a distant tropical shore. Either way, tonight's slow and peaceful journey is just for you. You have absolutely nothing to do right now except rest. There are no tasks left to complete. Let your shoulders soften. Let your jaw relax. Let your breathing slow down, finding a natural, easy rhythm. Let the heavy weight of the day settle down, drifting softly like fine dust coming to rest at the bottom of a clear, cool pool. Tonight, we're leaving the familiar everyday fields of Stardew Valley behind us. We're stepping away from the wooden fences, the familiar creak of the farmhouse door, the little dirt path winding into Pelican Town, and the soft, changing bells of the passing seasons. Before we begin our gentle voyage, if these calm explorations help you to unwind and find your rest, please consider gently liking the video and subscribing to the channel. It is a small gesture, but it helps other tired farmers, late-night lore listeners, and sleepy Stardew souls find their way here to rest too. We build this quiet harbour one slow, peaceful boat ride at a time. Now take one slow, deep breath in. Fill your lungs with quiet air and let it go. Let it all wash away. The boat is ready. Willie is standing quietly at the helm. The water of the ocean is dark and silver in the moonlight. The stars are patient and still above the sea. Let us begin. 1. The old boat behind the fish shop. Let us drift slowly toward the back room of Willie's shop upon the docks of the shimmering southern beach. Keep your breathing perfectly easy. This is a very slow part of the story, the kind of story that does not need to be conquered or rushed. The lore of Ginger Island is best understood the way Stardew Valley itself is often understood, through repeated gentle visits, through small acts of repair, and through patient, loving attention to the world around you. The confirmed fact is simple, and we'll hold it clearly and softly in our minds. Ginger Island becomes reachable only after the main town restoration path has been completed, whether you have chosen the path of the community centre or the Joja route, and only after Willie kindly invites the player to see the old, weathered boat resting in the back room of his fish shop. From a sleepy, lore-focused perspective, this timing matters deeply. This requirement makes the tropical island feel like a serene, late-game chapter rather than an early distracting detour. Pelican Town has already been healed and changed before the vast sea finally opens up to you. Because of this, the journey south carries the warm, comforting feeling of a well-earned reward, a beautiful secret waiting for you only after the valley has been fully tended and loved. But in the gentle mechanics of the game itself, the detail is this. Repairing this old wooden boat requires 200 pieces of hardwood, 5 iridium bars, and 5 battery packs. Underneath that simple mechanic, there is a much quieter, deeper feeling to be found. Those 3 materials tell a small, beautiful story all by themselves. Hardwood suggests long, patient days of gathering in the secret woods, listening to the chop of the axe echoing in the quiet trees. Iridium suggests deep, courageous mining expeditions or the mastery of late-game challenges, pulling glowing purple metal from the deep earth. And battery packs suggest the wild, cracking energy of summer storms, captured patiently by lightning rods standing in the rain. The trip to Ginger Island is not bought with simple gold. It is paid for with your time, your experience of the weather, and your dedicated work. Once the boat is fully repaired, it takes the player to Ginger Island for a simple fare, landing gently at the docks of Island South. It is a simple transition in gameplay, but in feeling, it is enormous. The familiar temperate valley gives way to bright azure water, swaying green palms, coral-coloured sand, and mysterious paths that do not yet explain themselves to you. The official changelog identifies Ginger Island as part of the Fern Islands. For years, the Fern Islands were just a distant, dreamy idea mentioned by villagers. Now, Ginger Island turns that distant idea into a real, warm shore beneath your boots. As you imagine that wooden boat moving smoothly over the quiet, dark sea, let the valley recede far behind you. The farm is completely safe. So as the animals are sleeping soundly in their barns, the shipping bin is closed for the night. Somewhere far behind you, Pelican Town rests quietly under its own silver moon, and ahead of you, warm, fragrant air rises from an island that has been waiting patiently in the dark. 2. The first shore and the sleeping turtles. Now, let us drift gently toward that very first shore. Keep your breathing easy, in and out, like the lapping of the tide. The confirmed fact of this place is simple and worth keeping clear. The player first arrives on Island South, a serene beach with a sturdy wooden dock, a small crumbling ruin, and sandy paths that branch out toward the east, the north, and the west. This matters. The island greets you with both openness and a gentle blockage at the very same time. You can see the swaying trees and hear the distant sounds of the jungle, but you cannot have it all immediately. Stardew Valley often teaches us through this kind of gentle restraint, asking us to slow down. At first, only the path to Island East is open to you. Large peaceful turtles are comfortably settled on the sand, completely blocking the paths to the north and to the west. Underneath this simple mechanic, there is a quieter feeling to embrace. These turtles are not villains, they are not harsh guards. They are simply sleeping, settled presences existing exactly where they wish to be. It is as if the island itself is placing a warm hand on your shoulder, asking you to slow down, to breathe, and to observe before it allows you to pass further into its depths. When you first arrive on this shore, a young boy named Leo appears briefly, watching you with wide eyes before he turns and runs swiftly into the thick jungle to the east. This tiny, fleeting moment gives Ginger Island its very first emotional thread. The island is not empty. Someone lives here. Someone shy, someone watching from the leaves, someone who belongs to this wild place in a way the farmer does not yet understand. Later, after you spend time at Leo's hut, the northern path will open, and a tiny glowing magma sprite will appear to gently guide the player toward the distant volcano. The path into the island is not explained through loud words or formal quest markers alone. It is shown through the graceful movement of animals, the flight of birds, and the appearance of strange, fiery little creatures. Ginger Island communicates to you through soft living signs. So let your tired mind walk slowly across this first sun-warmed beach. Hear the thick boat rope creak and settle against the wooden dock. Hear the soft, rhythmic hush of the ocean waves pulling back and forth over the shells. The island does not ask you to understand everything right away. It asks only that you notice the breeze, breathe in the salt, and take the next slow step. 3. The parrots and the golden walnuts. Let us drift now toward the colourful parrots and the hidden golden walnuts. Keep your breathing slow and easy. The confirmed fact is simple. Golden walnuts serve as the unique currency of the island, deeply desired by the local parrots, and there are exactly 130 golden walnuts hidden across the island for you to find. On another, more ordinary map. A number like 130 might feel like an exhausting checklist, but here, on Ginger Island, it feels much more like learning a beautiful, quiet language. Every single walnut you find says, "I noticed this hidden corner. I solved this little riddle in the sand." I listened closely to what the island was trying to tell me. The parrots of the island accept these golden walnuts to open blocked paths, to repair broken structures, and to build helpful conveniences all around the map. This mechanic gives the brightly coloured birds a deeply special role in the lore. They are not merely ambient wildlife or background decorations. They are the native builders, the wise guides, the cheerful gatekeepers, and your constant companions as the island slowly unfolds its secrets. Inside Leo's humble jungle hut, a special parrot perches quietly. This parrot gives you cryptic, squawking hints about where many of the remaining walnuts are hidden, though it does not know the location of every single one. Even this hint system feels perfectly woven into the universe. A talking parrot becomes your gentle voice of progress, but it is not a flawless machine. The island still keeps a few quiet secrets tucked away for you to discover entirely on your own, with patience and observation. Later on, if you choose, a golden Joja parrot can be paid with standard gold coins to automatically find the remaining walnuts for you. But as it does, the game gently warns the player that doing so prevents experiencing the true, intended magic of Ginger Island. That detail is quietly profound. The game allows convenience to exist, but it softly reminds you that the best discoveries in life are meant to be wandered into slowly and deliberately, not simply purchased away. Imagine the golden walnuts not as video game collectibles, but as small, heavy drops of sunshine tucked safely under broad green leaves, buried behind twisting tree roots, hidden inside clever stone puzzles, and resting coolly beneath the fine sand. One by one, they brighten the island. One by one, the parrots grow more willing to help you. The entire island opens up to you the way a sleepy mind slowly opens up to a peaceful dream. 4. Leo, the boy of the jungle. Let us drift toward the dense eastern jungle, where we find Leo. Keep your breathing easy and deep. The confirmed fact is simple, yet carrying a profound weight. Leo is a young boy who lives alone on Ginger Island, and his parents were tragically lost at sea during a storm. This is one of the island's clearest pieces of melancholy. Ginger Island is breathtakingly beautiful, with its sparkling waters and vibrant flora, but Leo's quiet story reminds us that beauty can grow around the edges of loss without ever fully erasing it. Leo considers the island's parrots to be his true family. At first, he is far too shy and frightened to speak to the player. He will only begin to open up after the player has patiently collected 10 golden walnuts and demonstrated friendship with the parrots. The game does not magically make Leo trust you simply because you are the main character and you have arrived on his shore. Trust in this quiet world must be earned indirectly. It is earned by showing consistent kindness, gentleness, and attention to the winged beings he already loves. As you gently build your friendship with him, bringing him gifts of mangoes or poi, a beautiful transformation occurs. At 6 hearts of friendship, Leo makes a brave choice. He moves to the Stardew Valley mainland, setting up a new life in a charming treehouse nestled quietly in the mountain region. This is not a rejection of his beloved Ginger Island. Instead, it is a brave expansion of his world. The shy child who once only knew the language of parrots and the deep shade of the jungle begins to find that he can belong to a larger, welcoming community. After moving, Leo forms tender bonds with Lanus, who understands living close to nature, and with Jas and Vincent, who show him the joy of childhood friendship. He even begins attending Penny's gentle lessons in the library with the other children. That is a soft and deeply important character arc. Leo never stops being island-born in his spirit, but he gains neighbours, caring teachers, and true friends. In Stardew Valley, healing so often looks exactly like this, the act of being gently included. For a moment, picture Leo's small leafy hut nestled under the grand canopy of the jungle. A brightly coloured parrot shifts its weight on a wooden perch, letting out a soft trill. The air smells intensely green, damp, and warm. Somewhere outside, tightly curled fiddlehead ferns are sprouting from the rich, dark jungle floor. Leo is not a mystery to be conquered or solved. He is simply a child, waiting to be approached softly, with time, patience, and absolute respect. 5. The jungle and the gem birds. Let us drift deeper into the jungle, where the gem birds fly. Keep your breathing easy, letting your chest rise and fall in a soothing rhythm. The confirmed fact is simple. Island East contains Leo's hut, wild jungle growth, spawning fiddlehead ferns, the mysterious banana shrine, and a hidden, winding path leading to the gembird puzzle. This eastern side of the island is its first truly intimate, secluded place. It is smaller than the sprawling farm to the west, and far less dangerous than the glowing volcano to the north, but it is incredibly dense with atmosphere and personality. On days when the soft, warm tropical rain falls across the island, beautiful gembirds can appear in the different regions, the north, south, east, and west. When approached, these magnificent birds fly away, dropping precious gems that correspond to their colour: emeralds, rubies, amethysts, aquamarines, or topazes. These gems are deeply connected to the hidden shrine puzzle hidden deep in the eastern trees. This puzzle teaches the gentle art of observation over time. It is not a puzzle that can be solved quickly by force or frustration. It asks the player to quietly notice the shifting weather, to pay attention to the compass directions, and to recognise natural patterns across multiple rainy days. The shrine itself features 4 stone pedestals, each associated with a region of the island. Placing the correct gems on the correct altars rewards the player with golden walnuts. Ginger Island's puzzles are deeply environmental. They are built from the ground you stand on, the water that falls from the grey sky, the sudden flash of a bird's wing, and the quiet memories you keep. Nearby, the banana shrine sits in the jungle near Leo's hut. It is a stone gorilla statue that patiently waits for an offering. When a single, ripe banana is placed upon its altar, the shrine rewards the player. It is a small, tropical ritual, incredibly simple but wholly memorable. You bring a piece of sweet fruit to an old stone altar, and the island answers you back in the language of hidden generosity. Let the warm rain fall gently in your mind right now. It is not a hard, driving rain that would wake you, but a soft, whispering drizzle that only serves to soften the broad green leaves. A bright, jewel-toned bird lands softly somewhere in the island mist. A glowing gem touches the damp earth. You do not need to rush toward it. In this quiet, sleepy version of the island, every single clue will wait patiently for you until the morning comes. 6. Journal scraps from a lost sailor. Now, let us drift toward the weathered journal scraps left behind by a lost sailor. Keep your breathing entirely easy, feeling the weight of your body sinking deeper into your resting place. The confirmed fact is simple. Journal scraps are collectible, torn notes found scattered across Ginger Island, and they are written as fragmented pieces of an old sailor's survival journal. These scraps are the island's most direct and haunting voice from the past. They are not grand, formal history books found in a glowing library, nor are they neat, polished plaques in a museum. They're simply torn, water-stained pages written by someone who survived a terrible shipwreck and tried their absolute best to live on these unknown shores. Unlike many video games where random lore notes can be found out of order and create confusing noise, on Ginger Island the journal scraps are perfectly sequential. You always find them in order, from the first scrap to the last. This gentle mechanic gives the scraps a quiet, rhythmic narrative flow. You do not receive this castaway's deepest memories as a jumbled puzzle. You uncover them slowly, like the receding tide revealing a line of footprints in the sand one by one. The scraps contain practical clues about environmental puzzles, hidden golden walnuts, secret fishing spots, the dangers of the volcano, and specific places in the sand to dig. The journal is simultaneously a captivating story and a helpful guide. Its lonely writer becomes your unseen companion and helper, reaching out to you long after their own fate has faded into the misty uncertainty of the past. The game purposefully never confirms the author's true identity. The safest, most careful reading of the lore is that these scraps belong to a completely unnamed shipwrecked sailor. That lingering uncertainty is deeply powerful. Stardew Valley often leaves these small, poignant absences untouched, allowing the player to feel the haunting mystery of a place without forcing every single shadow into a brightly lit labelled box. Imagine a single, yellowed page caught tightly under a smooth grey stone, completely dry somehow despite the heavy ocean air. The cursive handwriting is faded and weathered by time. The edges of the paper are torn and fragile. You read only enough to understand the next soft guiding clue, and then you fold it carefully into your memory. Somewhere, hidden in the palms and the sand, the island is keeping the rest of the story completely safe. 7. Birdie and the Pirate's Wife. Let us drift now toward the far western edge of the island, where we meet Birdie and hear the tale of the pirate's wife. Keep your breathing smooth, easy, and slow. The confirmed fact is simple. Birdie is an elderly woman who lives a quiet life in a small rustic shack on the western shore of Ginger Island. Her humble home is placed very far from the first arrival dock. It sits beyond the sleeping turtles, beyond the farm, at the very edge of the map where the ocean stretches out endlessly. Because of this placement, Birdie feels like a treasured secret, someone you are only meant to discover after you've proven yourself, after the island has begun to fully trust you. When the player finally walks up the shoreline and speaks to Birdie, she initiates a beautifully woven quest called The Pirate's Wife. The title of the quest is incredibly direct, but the emotion sitting just underneath it is profoundly quiet and melancholic. Birdie is deeply connected to someone who is long gone, and the island she sits upon holds the final, fading remnants of that great love. The quest begins when Birdie hands you a faded war memento. From there, it leads you on a gentle journey back across the sea to Stardew Valley, asking you to trade items with several different villagers. You hand the memento to Kent, who gives you gourmet tomato salt for Gus, who gives you a Stardew Valley rose for Sandy, who gives you an advanced TV remote for George, who gives you an Arctic shard for the wizard, who gives you a wriggling worm for Willy, who finally hands you the pirate's locket. You take this locket all the way back to the island and place it into Birdie's waiting hands. This long chain of items beautifully ties the isolation of Ginger Island back to the warm community of Stardew Valley. Your friends and neighbours in the valley all unknowingly participate in the gentle healing of a stranger's old grief. Completing Birdie's quest rewards you with golden walnuts and the magical recipe for fairy dust. Mechanically, it is a handsome reward, but emotionally, it is a profound act of restoration. You cannot use magic to bring back the husband that Birdie lost to the sea, but through patience and travel, you can bring one deeply meaningful token of his love safely back home to her. Let the western beach grow perfectly quiet in your mind now. Birdie's little wooden shack faces the endlessly rolling sea. The white-capped waves come and go with the infinite patience of the passing years. Some grief in the world of Stardew Valley is never meant to be erased, only gently accompanied. And sometimes, the absolute kindest thing a farmer can ever do is simply carry a precious memory from one person's hand to another, until it finally reaches the person who needs it the most. 8. The Island West Farm. Let us drift toward the wide, sprawling fields of the Island West Farm. Keep your breathing easy, sinking deeper into relaxation. The confirmed fact is simple. Island West contains a massive, open farming area with hundreds of plantable soil tiles, initially covered with stones, logs and wild weeds, very much like the original farm you inherited back in the valley. This sprawling space is Ginger Island's beautiful nostalgic echo of the very beginning of the game. Once again, you arrive at a piece of wild land that can become something magnificent through your clearing, your planting, and your daily loving care. Like the magical greenhouse back home, the soil on the island farm can grow absolutely any crop, completely regardless of the current season. This unique trait gives the island a wonderfully dreamlike suspended logic. Bright spring strawberries, heavy autumn pumpkins, golden summer wheat, sweet tropical pineapples, and mysterious ancient fruit can all share the exact same patch of warm, sun-drenched earth without the heavy turn of the calendar ever closing over them and withering their leaves. There is a tiny, practical fact about this farm that changes its entire emotional landscape. Crows simply do not spawn on Ginger Island. Because of this, you never need to build or place scarecrows anywhere on the island farm. The gentle reading of this detail is that the island farm is a strangely protected, perfectly peaceful sanctuary. It is as though your tender crops can rest under the open blue sky without any fear of the outside world taking from them. Over time, by offering golden walnuts to your parrot companions, you can repair the ruined island farmhouse. Later, you can add a sturdy mailbox, and eventually a towering farm obelisk. The west side of the island gradually transforms from a wild expedition into a genuine, comfortable second home. First, it is just a field of dirt. Then it offers a warm bed to sleep in. Then letters from your friends arrive, and finally, a magical doorway back to the valley is erected. The island shifts from being merely a place you visit into a life you actively maintain and love. Picture the island field at absolute dusk right now. The iridium sprinklers are ticking softly, sweeping arcs of cool water over the soil. Broad green leaves are shining wetly in the humid, cooling evening air. No harsh winter frost waits ominously at the edge of the month. The farm simply grows, perfectly warm and endlessly steady, while the great sea breathes softly in and out nearby. 9. The Gourmand Frog. Now, let us drift toward the deep shadowed cave of the Gourmand Frog. Keep your breathing easy, your body totally still. The confirmed fact is simple. Once you have fully repaired the island farmhouse, a small cave on the upper right side of the farm becomes accessible, and inside the Gourmand Frog can be found sitting quietly by a subterranean pool. This large, friendly amphibian is one of Ginger Island's strangest and absolute gentlest characters. He is a being who is half comic and half deeply nostalgic, sitting in the damp cool of his cave, wearing a tiny hat, and vividly remembering the delicious crops that used to grow on the island in earlier forgotten days. The gourmand frog softly asks the player to grow a large pink melon, then a patch of golden wheat, and finally pungent garlic on the island farm just outside his cave. These farming requests are not about making a profit or maximising your shipping bin values. They are entirely about the sweet feeling of recognition. The frog simply wants to see these specific, beautiful plants grown from the earth again, as if he wants the island itself to remember the taste and the smell of them. The specific detail of this quest is very important. The crops must be fully mature, but left completely unharvested in the dirt when you bring the frog out to look at them. That simple mechanical detail creates a profound pause in your routine. You do not just yank an item out of a wooden chest and hand it over for a reward. You are forced to let the crop stand proudly in the living soil, whole, rooted and visible, so that an old frog's precious memory can finally meet the reality of the present day. Each time you show the frog the correct fully grown crop, he rejoices and rewards you with golden walnuts, eventually giving you a total of 15 walnuts across his 3 requests. The golden reward certainly matters for your progression, but the serene, quiet scene matters so much more. Ginger Island consistently turns video game progress into a series of small, beautiful ceremonies, and standing in the sun with the gourmand frog is one of its very softest, most charming ceremonies. So now imagine the sharp, green leaves of garlic swaying gently in the warm night breeze. Imagine the tall stalks of golden wheat trembling softly by the running river, and a massive, perfectly round pink melon resting heavily on the dark, damp soil. Somewhere in the cool dark of the cave the frog remembers, and somewhere in your own tired body, your mind remembers how to rest. It remembers how sleep naturally arrives when you finally stop chasing it. 10. Professor Snail and the field office. Let us drift now toward the island field office and the enthusiastic Professor Snail. Keep your breathing easy, your thoughts drifting like leaves on a slow stream. The confirmed fact is simple. Professor Snail is a dedicated scholar who lives temporarily on Ginger Island, running the island field office after the player successfully rescues him from a terrible predicament. He brings an entirely different kind of attention and energy to the island. Where the parrots speak in cryptic, squawking hints, and where Birdie speaks through the heavy lens of old memories, Professor Snail speaks through the lens of dedicated, optimistic scientific study. Before you rescue him, he is unfortunately trapped behind a massive boulder inside a dark cave on the northeastern edge of the dig site. This mechanic carries a quieter feeling. The island is undeniably beautiful and serene, but it is not entirely safe. It has sudden rock falls, deeply blocked places, and ancient dangers tucked away in its fossil beds. Even a brilliant, highly educated professor can stumble and become part of the island's grand puzzle, requiring the humble farmer to set things right. The dig site itself only becomes accessible after the player gathers 10 golden walnuts and pays the local parrots to repair the broken wooden bridge near the field office. Once again, the colourful parrots lovingly mediate the island's physical opening. A sturdy wooden bridge magically appears where there was once only an impassable gap, and a hidden, trapped scholar can finally be reached and set free with the blast of a simple cherry bomb. And after being freed from the dark cave, Professor Snail dusts himself off and gladly accepts donations of ancient fossils. He hands out golden walnuts as rewards for completing his museum-style island collections and his flora and fauna surveys. His meticulous, patient work turns scattered, meaningless bones back into brilliant knowledge. Through his quests, the player becomes something more than just a farmer or an adventurer. You become a quiet, patient field assistant, carefully piecing together the broken fragments of the island's natural history. Let the warm, golden glow of the field office lamp shine softly in your imagination. Smooth, ancient fossils rest carefully on wooden display tables. Hand-drawn notes and scientific diagrams are pinned neatly to the walls. Outside the open door, the sandy dig site is perfectly quiet under the tropical sun. Every hidden bone, every preserved fern, every scientific question is allowed to be slow, deliberate, and deeply peaceful. 11. Fossils beneath the warm soil. Let us drift deeper into the thought of those ancient fossils buried beneath the warm soil. Keep your breathing easy, letting the gentle rise and fall of your chest guide you towards sleep. The confirmed fact is simple. The Island Field Office centres entirely on the careful study of Ginger Island's native flora, its unique fauna, and its hidden fossilised remains. From a sleepy, lore-focused perspective, this fact matters immensely. It suggests that Ginger Island is not just a hollow, temporary playground designed for late-game video game mechanics. It has a vast, deep, natural history, a timeline that stretches far back into the ancient past, layered quietly beneath the bright current tropical surface. In the lore of the game, Professor Snail reveals that he has been meticulously surveying the island for an entire year before the player finally arrives and rescues him. His long, lonely year of dedicated work gives Ginger Island a profound sense of ongoing activity that exists entirely independent of the farmer. This world was already spinning. It was already being studied, walked upon, lived in, and occasionally misunderstood long before your boat ever pulled up to the southern dock. The dig site is filled with strange artifact nodes, buried bone fragments, and geological resources that help complete the field office collections. The repetitive act of digging in this area becomes an almost meditative, rhythmic practice, clink, brush, sweep. One strike of the pickaxe, one scoop of the hoe at a time, the sandy soil generously gives up the broken pieces of massive creatures that lived and breathed long before the farmer, long before the beach resort was built, long before the present story ever began. A beautiful secondary piece of the island's lore is this. The very cave where Professor Snail was unfortunately trapped transforms into a peaceful, humid mushroom cave shortly after he is freed. That subtle change is incredibly charming. A place of fear, darkness, and danger organically becomes a place of abundant, quiet foraging. Ginger Island repeatedly does this. It takes blocked, troubled or broken places and gently transforms them into open, flowing sources of life and nourishment. Imagine yourself kneeling in the warm sand, gently brushing the dirt away from a large curved fossil in the late golden hours of the afternoon. There is absolutely no hurry. The old creature has waited thousands of years in the dark. The island has waited for you this long. You can afford to wait too, breathing slowly and deeply as the ancient past rises grain by sandy grain into the soft, welcoming light. 12. The volcano in the north. Now let us drift upward toward the towering, rumbling volcano in the north. Keep your breathing easy, perfectly steady. The confirmed fact is simple. Island North contains the imposing volcano dungeon, which serves as one of Ginger Island's major, most challenging late-game areas. After the peaceful, lapping waves of the beach and the deep, humid shade of the jungle, the volcano dramatically changes the island's overall tone. The soft, gentle warmth of the tropics intensifies, becoming deep heat, crushing pressure, and glowing molten stone. In the design of the game, the volcano dungeon is built with exactly 10 floors, a sharp contrast to the sprawling, exhausting 100-floor structures of the regular Pelican Town mines or the terrifying depths of the Skull Cavern in the desert. This shorter length makes the volcano feel incredibly concentrated and deliberate. Every single floor matters. Every bubbling pool of orange lava, every locked gate, every fiery enemy becomes an intimate part of a tighter, more focused ascent toward the peak. One of the most unique mechanics in Stardew Valley happens right here. Players must use their trusty steel watering can inside the blistering heat of the volcano to pour cool water over the molten lava, or instantly cooling it to create solid, walkable paths across the fire. This is one of the game's most elegant, poetic mechanical images. Plain, simple water, the humble farmer's most ordinary, everyday tool for nurturing delicate crops, becomes a powerful, magical bridge directly through the heart of fire. At the very top, on the elusive 10th floor of the volcano dungeon, you find the ancient forge. Here, powerful weapons and everyday farming tools can be permanently enhanced with glowing gems, hot cinder shards, and magical enchantments. The exhausting, heated climb ends not with a simple, opening treasure chest, but with a profound act of transformation. The volcano fundamentally changes the tools you carry, just as the journey to the island fundamentally changes the way you play the game. But let the volcano's fierce heat glow very far away from us right now, softened immensely by the cool distance of the night. We absolutely do not need to fight our way through it tonight. We have no need for swords or pickaxes right now. We only need to know that it is standing out there, breathing a deep rhythmic red under the quiet canopy of the stars, keeping its ancient forge perfectly warm for another day. 13. Magma sprites, tiger slimes, and island creatures. Let us drift into the thought of the island's unique wildlife. The magma sprites, the tiger slimes, and the tropical creatures of the sea. Keep your breathing easy, feeling your limbs grow heavy and warm. The confirmed fact is simple. Magma sprites and buzzing magma sparkers are fiery enemies that appear exclusively in connection with the deep heat of the volcano, including that very early magical moment when a single magma sprite floats out to gently guide the player to the northern path. These glowing creatures make the massive volcano feel truly alive, sentient, and not simply a geological rock formation. Inside that mountain, fire has little, fluttering wings. Heat has a distinct, mischievous personality. Outside the volcano, brightly coloured tiger slimes can be found bouncing softly across Ginger Island, particularly in the secluded tiger slime grove nestled deeply in the upper foliage of Island West. They are instantly recognisable as the familiar gelatinous slimes from the valley, but they are uniquely island-coloured, featuring bright orange bodies and dark stripes that perfectly match their tropical setting. Stardew Valley so often reuses familiar, comforting families of creatures, while carefully altering them just enough to make them truly belong to their new, exotic environments. In the waters surrounding the island, you can cast your fishing line to discover entirely new aquatic life. The island introduces vibrant fish such as the spiked lionfish, the flat, colourful blue discus, and the graceful, sweeping stingray, with the stingray caught exclusively in the hidden, shadowy waters of Pirate Cove. The act of fishing on Ginger Island becomes a peaceful way of learning its geography. Certain fish belong exclusively to certain waters, and the island slowly reveals its true shape through whatever pulls gently on the end of your line. Among the palm trees, golden coconuts can occasionally be found resting in the sand or shaken from the leaves. These rare coconuts cannot be broken by hand. They must be taken all the way back across the ocean and cracked open on the sturdy anvil of Clint, the valley blacksmith. When the very first golden coconut is cracked open, it magically produces a golden walnut. Even the heavy coconuts become a part of the island's secret, intertwined economy of discovery. What looks like simple foraging may actually contain a vital key, and what looks like a key may actually contain an entirely new path forward. Now, let all of these island creatures grow incredibly sleepy, just as you are doing. The striped slimes settle down quietly under the broad, waxy leaves of the grove. The colourful fish glide slowly to a stop in the dark, cool water of the cove. The volcano's fluttering sparks quiet themselves, dimming to a soft ember glow behind the thick stone. The island is never completely empty at night, but it is deeply calm, as if every single living thing has silently agreed to lower its voice and rest. 14. The Mermaid on a Rainy Shore. Let us drift toward the enchanting image of the mermaid singing on a rainy shore. Keep your breathing perfectly easy, letting your mind float on the sound of the words. The confirmed fact is simple. After the player has gathered enough walnuts to build the beach resort, the pathway to Island Southeast finally opens up. This beautiful, secluded area contains a perfectly star-shaped tide pool, the hidden entrance to Pirate Cove, and the mysterious mermaid puzzle area along the eastern shoreline. This specific part of the island feels like a deeply buried secret attached to a public reward. By unselfishly spending your walnuts to build a beautiful place of rest for visitors, you inadvertently clear away the debris that leads you into an older, much stranger, and far more magical stretch of the coast. On days when the heavy tropical rain falls over Ginger Island, a beautiful mermaid magically appears. She sits perfectly still on a large, smooth rock just offshore, watching the rain hit the surface of the dark ocean. The image is pure, unadulterated Stardew Valley dream logic. Gentle grey rain falling on warm tropical stones, white sea foam bubbling at the edge of the sand, and a silent, otherworldly figure waiting patiently for a song. The puzzle surrounding the mermaid requires the player to use wooden flute blocks, carefully tuning them according to the distinct pattern of large and small stones resting silently on the shore. The game gently asks the player to read the natural landscape as if it were a piece of written sheet music. The large stones dictate one note, the small stones dictate another, and the empty beach itself becomes a magnificent wooden instrument. When you run past the blocks and play the correct sweeping melody in the rain, the mermaid smiles, waves, and rewards you with 5 golden walnuts. Once again, a practical, necessary game reward is completely wrapped in breathtaking emotional atmosphere. Ginger Island does not simply hand you your progress in a dull menu. It asks you to stand in the rain, listen to the ocean, and make beautiful music for a creature of the deep. Listen, very softly, to those imagined wooden notes in your mind. They are not bright or loud enough to wake you. They are just a few soft wooden, hollow tones drifting slowly from left to right along the wet sandy shore. Rain falling on deep water, water splashing gently on smooth stone. A quiet mermaid watching you with kind eyes as the island finally remembers its ancient rainy song. 15. Pirate Cove. After 8. Let us drift toward the hidden shadows of Pirate Cove, arriving just after 8 o'clock in the evening. Keep your breathing easy, your eyes closed, your spirit calm. The confirmed fact is simple. Pirate Cove is a secretive, torchlit cavern hidden away in Island Southeast, and it can only be entered through a cleverly concealed passage just to the east of the star-shaped tide pool. The entrance is incredibly easy to miss if you are walking too quickly, which suits it perfectly. These stories of old pirates and hidden treasure should always feel tucked securely behind something completely ordinary, like a plain wall of grey rock sitting quietly beside a peaceful tide pool. Inside the game's clock, a rowdy but harmless crew of pirates will visit the cove strictly after 8 PM on non-rainy, even-numbered days of the season. That highly specific schedule gives the secret cove a wonderful rhythmic ritual. They do not arrive every single night, nor do they brave the violent storms. They only come on certain clear evenings when the sea is calm and seems willing to safely host them in its stony embrace. While the pirates are visiting, laughing, and drinking their mead around the crackling fire, the player is invited to play a friendly game of darts to win golden walnuts. It is one of the island's most playful, cosy secrets, a shadowy, cavernous cove, late-night companionable company, the smell of salt and smoke, and a simple, focused game of aim and patience. In the dark pools of water inside the cove, the majestic stingray can be caught with your fishing pole, making the cove an important location for completing your fishing collection, as well as a masterclass in game atmosphere. The cove is not just a decorative background. It has its own unique, shadowy ecology, its own strict schedule, and its own vital place in the practical living map of Ginger Island. The pirate lamps are burning very low right now. The fire is dying down to glowing red coals. Somewhere in the dark, a dart lands softly in the centre of a wooden board with a quiet thunk. Somewhere else, a flat, graceful stingray turns silently below the black surface of the water. The cove smells deeply of ocean salt, old damp rope, and warm, fire-heated stone. You can let all of it fade away now into a soft, comforting dream of hidden doors and gentle rocking waves. 16. The beach resort and returning villagers. Let us drift out of the shadows and back into the bright open air of the beach resort and its visiting villagers. Keep your breathing easy, letting your tension melt away into the mattress. The confirmed fact is simple. After the island farmhouse is fully repaired, the old weathered beach ruins sitting on the sand of Island South can be completely rebuilt into a gorgeous functioning resort for the cost of 20 golden walnuts. The transformation of a crumbling, forgotten ruin into a vibrant resort is one of Ginger Island's clearest, most beautiful acts of restoration. A useless structure becomes a magnificent place of communal rest, healing, and joy. Once the resort is officially open for business, a random selection of Pelican Town villagers will begin taking the boat from the valley to visit the island on non-rainy, non-festival days. This mechanic profoundly changes the emotional geography of the entire game. The island is no longer only the isolated farmer's grand secret, nor is it merely Leo's lonely jungle home. The warm beating heart of the Stardew Valley begins to touch the distant island in lovely, little vacation-shaped moments. The villagers typically arrive in the late morning, stepping off the boat in cheerful groups, and they leave as the sun begins to set in the evening. While they are visiting, their portraits in your social tab magically update to show them wearing colourful, relaxed beach outfits. This detail is small, but it makes the digital world feel incredibly flexible and alive. The people you've grown to love have rich lives beyond their usual repetitive walking routes through the town square. Even the most serious, hard-working villagers like Harvey or Kent are allowed to have a joyful, sun-soaked island day. By opening the resort, you also automatically clear the heavy debris that was blocking the path leading to Island Southeast. Stardew Valley so often elegantly links the act of hospitality directly with the act of discovery. When you unselfishly make a place welcoming and beautiful for others, a brand new path suddenly opens up for you. When you spend your time repairing something to bring other people joy, your own world naturally becomes much larger too. Imagine the resort at sunset right now, long after everyone has taken the boat and gone back home. The brightly coloured towels are neatly folded. The hot pink sand is slowly cooling in the twilight breeze. The little ruin is no longer sad and lonely. The wooden dock is still waiting patiently for tomorrow. The gentle ocean waves are still counting softly for you. 1 breath in, 1 breath out. 17. Cheese Walnut Room. Let us drift slowly toward the mysterious glowing purple door of Cheese Walnut Room. Keep your breathing easy, perfectly calm. The confirmed fact is simple. Cheese Walnut Room is located securely on the far west side of Ginger Island, built straight into the cliff face, and its magical blue door will only open after the player has diligently obtained a total of 100 golden walnuts. Where this location feels like the island's ultimate final secret tucked securely behind its late-game secrets. After so much exploring, digging and solving, another strange blue door simply asks whether you're finally ready for an entirely different kind of challenge. Inside this sleek, mysterious room, you will find a glowing perfection tracker, an imposing special order board covered in difficult tasks, and a strange vending machine that strictly uses chi gems as currency. Mr. Chi, the enigmatic figure behind it all, turns this cozy, relaxing life simulation game into a grand metagame of ultimate mastery. He is no longer measuring just one single giant crop or one heart of friendship. He's measuring the entire holistic shape of the player's lifetime journey through the valley and the island. And through his special orders and the punishing Shrine of Challenge, players earn chi gems, which can be spent on incredibly rare, magical and powerful items. The shift in currency from the organic, natural golden walnuts to the glowing manufactured chi gems marks a distinct change in the scale of the game. Walnuts were used to gently open the island. Chi gems are used to open the true endgame of Stardew Valley. The perfection tracker on the wall rounds down its numbers, fiercely refusing to show 100% until absolutely true, flawless perfection has been achieved in every possible category. Even here, at the very edge of the map, the game is fiercely precise. Almost perfect is not perfect to Mr. Chi. But in a sleepy, relaxing video like this, we can easily soften that sharp thought. You absolutely do not need perfection tonight. You do not need 100% completion in your waking life right now. You only need to let go. You only need rest. Let Mr. Chi's glowing blue room dim in your mind. The blinking order board goes totally dark. The mechanical vending machine hums faintly, putting itself to sleep. The strict percentages and the numbers can all wait for tomorrow. The pursuit of perfection can wait forever, if it must. Tonight, no one in the world is measuring you. 18. The island as a second home. Let us drift into the wonderful thought of the island serving as a true second home. Keep your breathing easy, your mind completely unburdened. The confirmed fact is simple. Once repaired, the island farmhouse allows the player to safely sleep in a warm bed on Ginger Island, completely eliminating the frantic need to rush back to the valley dock each night before passing out at 2 a.m. This changes the island fundamentally. It transforms it from a distant, exotic travel destination into a genuine, permanent dwelling. A place where you can safely close your eyes and sleep becomes a place that intimately belongs to your daily rhythm. Later, a sturdy mailbox can be built by the parrots right next to the farmhouse door, allowing important mail from the valley to miraculously reach you without ever forcing you to leave the island. Mail is one of Stardew Valley's strongest, most enduring symbols of deep community. When a handwritten letter from Evelyn or a recipe from Gus can finally reach you on Ginger Island, the island officially joins the daily, beating life of the farm. You're far away, but you're never forgotten. Eventually, if you gather the vast magic and materials required, the towering farm obelisk can be built right on the Ginger Island dirt. Touching it allows you to instantly walk back to your farm in Stardew Valley. The island obelisk, built back home by the wizard, allows the reverse trip. These magnificent magical pillars turn vast oceanic distance into a soft, easy doorway. The deep, rolling sea still exists, but magic kindly folds the map, pulling the two homes close together. By the late game, the journey to the island becomes much less about restricted access or Willie's shop hours, and much more about a profound sense of belonging. You can come and go whenever you please, travelling as someone who knows the route perfectly in both body and memory. Think of sleeping soundly in the island farmhouse tonight, with the wooden windows thrown wide open. Outside in the dark, the unique sounds of the tropical night entirely replace the familiar chorus of the valley crickets. The bed feels a little different. The air in the room is much warmer, but the deep restorative rest is exactly the same. Your concept of home has simply become wider. 19. A place without ordinary seasons. Let us drift into the thought of a place that exists entirely without the turning of ordinary seasons. Keep your breathing easy, letting go of time. The confirmed fact is simple. Ginger Island's massive western farm grows its crops beautifully year-round, completely unaffected by the valley's rigid restrictions of spring, summer, fall and winter. This magical climate makes the island feel as though it is sitting slightly outside the boundaries of the ordinary calendar. It is not outside of time completely, for the days still pass from morning to night, but it is wonderfully free from one of Stardew Valley's deepest, most demanding rhythms, the death of crops on the 28th of the month. You can plant delicate fruit trees anywhere on the island farm, and they will produce fruit continuously. Iridium sprinklers work flawlessly in the island dirt, watering your crops every single morning just as you would expect. The island is highly magical in its breathtaking atmosphere, but it is wonderfully practical in its farming mechanics. It graciously allows you to build massive systems, carefully plan intricate layouts, and settle into a highly profitable, stress-free routine. Because there are no crows to swoop down and steal your tender seeds, the act of crop protection works completely differently than on the main farm. You do not need to clutter your beautiful fields with scarecrows. The utter lack of crows gives the open field a deeply peaceful, unthreatened quality. Absolutely nothing drops from the sky to steal your tender, loving work. There is a minor limitation. Giant crops, like the massive cauliflowers or towering pumpkins, cannot fuse and grow on Ginger Island. This means you cannot find journal scraps by chopping down giant crops there. This is a very useful correction for lore accuracy. The island beautifully copies the greenhouse-like freedom of perfect weather, but it's not a perfectly identical mirror to every single farm mechanic in the valley. It retains its own unique rules. Now, imagine all 4 distinct seasons folded effortlessly into one single warm, endless afternoon. Pungent garlic from the spring, sweet pink melon from the summer, wet taro from the tropics, Golden pineapple and ancient fruit can all exist side by side in the exact same soft golden light. The rigid calendar totally loosens its grip on your life. Your tired body remembers that it too is fully allowed to loosen its grip and rest. 20. Taro, ginger, pineapples and island crops. Let us drift into the sweet earthy smells of taro, wild ginger, pineapples and the new island crops. Keep your breathing easy, your senses calm and relaxed. The confirmed fact is simple. The 1.5 update to Ginger Island officially introduced and highlighted several brand new tropical crops and wild forage items to the game, including the spiky pineapple and the leafy taro root, sweet mangoes, bright bananas and spicy wild ginger. These unique items give the island its very own distinct flavour profile. Ginger Island is not merely Stardew Valley decorated with a few palm trees, it possesses a completely different pantry. It offers different gifts to its inhabitants, and it unlocks entirely different culinary recipes. Taro tubers can be found in geodes or dropped by monsters, and when planted, especially near a body of water, where they will irrigate themselves, they grow into large, leafy taro roots. Taro is deeply associated with the island's watery, humid, tropical farming identity. Where the valley adventure so often begins with pulling simple spring parsnips from dry dirt, Ginger Island feels deeply rooted in fresh water, high humidity, and massive, broad green leaves. The addition of mango and banana trees perfectly fits the island's tropical identity. These fruits connect deeply to Leo as they are among his most loved gifts, and the banana is required to appease the hidden banana shrine in the jungle. Food, in the world of Stardew Valley, constantly becomes a vehicle for relationship and ritual. What grows naturally from the island soil can be used to feed a lonely child's friendship, solve an ancient stone puzzle, and make the entire place feel culturally distinct and alive. Wild ginger can be foraged directly from the sandy ground of the island, and it is frequently used in island-era cooking and crafting, most notably in the recipe for ginger ale. The name Ginger Island is not only scenic, it is literal. The spicy plant itself pushes up through the tropical soil, glycerol, giving the entire island a distinct scent you can almost imagine in your room right now. Sharp, warm, earthy, and perfectly clean. Let the island smell deeply like rain-washed ginger and freshly cut juicy mango. Let the spiky green pineapple leaves scratch softly against each other in the ocean breeze. Let the thick taro stalks stand perfectly still in the wet, muddy soil. Every single crop is completely quiet tonight, growing peacefully in the dark without ever needing to be watched. 21. What the island tells us about Stardew's world. Let us drift into thinking about what this single island tells us about the entire wider world of Stardew Valley. Keep your breathing easy, letting the boundaries of your thoughts expand softly. The confirmed fact is simple. The very existence of Ginger Island absolutely confirms that the world stretching beyond the borders of Pelican Town is vast and broad, filled with distant archipelagos, established sea routes, roaming pirates, wandering traders, and distant unseen communities that are heavily implied by the travel and dialogue of the characters. Sometimes, when you've played Stardew Valley for hundreds of hours, the valley can begin to feel like a very small, perfectly sealed glass bowl. But Ginger Island takes the lid off that bowl and opens the rim. The valley is suddenly just one tiny place inside a much larger, breathing world. On Island North, an island trader eventually appears, setting up a colourful shop. However, she refuses to accept standard gold coins, instead exchanging her rare island goods for tropical forage, coconuts, and taro roots. This reinforces the realistic idea that Ginger Island has its own isolated, functioning economy. Not everything of value in the world can be bought with golden coins. Some of the most precious things are traded strictly through what the land itself naturally provides. The Parrot Express can eventually be unlocked by paying the birds, creating a whimsical, fast travel system moving the player swiftly around the island. Even the local transportation becomes highly native and charming. You do not install harsh asphalt roads or loud iron trains on the island. You rely entirely on the strength of parrots, little wooden perches, and the island's own strange, beautiful hospitality. And when the beach resort finally brings the beloved Pelican Town villagers down into the Fern Islands, it creates a highly visible, emotional link between your old valley community and your new tropical region. The two separate worlds do not remain isolated forever. Once opened, the island becomes an integral part of the living, breathing social life of Stardew Valley, not merely a secret hidden appendix. Somewhere far out there, beyond the glowing edges of the television or computer screen, there may be hundreds of other islands. There may be more old boats, more lost sailors, and more little economies built entirely on trust and foraging. But for tonight, one single island is more than enough for us. One quiet beach, one sleeping boy's hut, one warm, endless field, and one rumbling volcano glowing softly under the stars. 22. And survival, loss, and gentle repair. Let us drift softly into the deeper themes of survival, loss, and gentle repair that sit at the heart of the island. Keep your breathing easy, your chest rising and falling. The confirmed fact is simple, yet deeply emotional. Leo's parents were tragically lost at sea. Birdie sits every day mourning a pirate husband who never returned, and the weathered journal scraps come from the shaking hand of a shipwrecked, stranded sailor. These three distinct story threads weave together to give Ginger Island a profoundly quiet maritime sorrow. The great sparkling sea brings the excitement of travel, adventure, and wonder, but it has also inevitably taken beloved people away. The player, despite all their magical tools and vast wealth, absolutely cannot undo those past losses. You cannot pull Leo's parents from the deep. You cannot bring Birdie's husband back to the porch of her shack, but you can build slow, meaningful trust with Leo. You can return a single, meaningful physical keepsake to Birdie's waiting hands. You can preserve the lost sailor's knowledge by collecting the journal scraps and piecing together Professor Snail's ancient fossils. This is the true, beautiful emotional grammar of Stardew Valley. You cannot fix everything that is broken in the world, but you can always, always tend to what remains. Many of the mechanical unlocks on the island are framed as repairs, fixing broken bridges, restoring the ruined farmhouse, erecting mailboxes, building obelisks, sweeping the resort ruins clean, and opening blocked travel routes. The progress you make on Ginger Island is framed much less as a violent conquest of nature and much more as a gentle act of restoration. You do not come to own the island by defeating it. You simply participate in its quiet renewal. The parrots are completely central to this theme of renewal, acting as your willing builders and guides whenever they are given golden walnuts. The island's native magical caretakers must be worked with, hand in wing. The player is incredibly powerful, but they are not independent. True help and true progress always comes through building a relationship. Let that deeply comforting thought be enough for you tonight. You do not need to fix everything in your life today. You only need to tend to what can be gently tended. A small bridge repaired here, a sweet keepsake handed over there. a frightened child given time and space, a broken ruin given the sound of laughter once again. The island heals itself in very small, patient increments, and so can a tired, heavy heart. 23. The unknown author of the scraps. Let us drift back into the mystery of the unknown author of the journal scraps. Keep your breathing easy, floating in the dark. The confirmed fact is simple. The desperate writer of the journal scraps clearly describes being stranded on the beach after a violent storm and tragically losing their entire crew to the waves. But the game purposefully never provides a confirmed true name for this author. Careful lore readings must always resist the desperate urge to neatly tie every loose end. We must resist claiming as absolute fact that the author is Birdie, or her lost husband, or any specific pirate captain, unless we clearly present it as a fan theory. In the confirmed reality of the game, they remain a ghost. The scraps themselves include highly practical everyday survival observations. The author notes which island foods are safe to eat, how the local fish behave in the water, how the walnuts are hidden, and where to find safe shelter from the elements. The writer is not only being dramatic for the sake of a story, they are desperately surviving day by day, carefully learning exactly what the island offers and learning the harsh lessons of what it demands in return. Several of these torn scraps function directly as treasure maps or puzzle hints for the player, meaning that the brave writer explored deeply enough into the island to leave vital knowledge behind for whoever followed them. This reality turns the tragic, unknown sailor into your invisible ghostly guide. Their great historical misfortune gracefully becomes your present-day map. The scattered missing pages and the permanent gaps in the journal intentionally leave the author's final ending completely uncertain. We do not know if they ever built a raft. We do not know if they perished in the volcano. The incompleteness is an essential part of the island's mood. We're not given every single answer, and Ginger Island feels so much older, deeper, and more profound because of that missing information. The unnamed sailor can comfortably remain unnamed. Not every single voice echoing out from the distant past needs to be given a face. Sometimes finding a torn, weathered page under a rock, reading a few desperate clues, and listening to the endless sound of the surf is more than enough to make a person feel incredibly real to us for just a moment, right before sleep carries the rest of their story away into the dark. 24. The hidden logic of island puzzles. Let us drift into the quiet, hidden logic of the island's many puzzles. Keep your breathing perfectly easy, letting your mind detangle itself from the day. The confirmed fact is simple. Ginger Island utilizes many small, clever environmental puzzles to hide its golden walnuts. There are glowing gem pedestals, wooden flute blocks, hidden paths obscured by thick canopy leaves, suspicious patches of sand that imply a dig spot, crystal memory sequences in the caves, the hungry banana shrine, and bushes that only shake when a walnut is inside. The island slowly trains the player to look very closely at the world. The secret path may be hidden just behind a swaying palm frond. A hastily scribbled note may imply a treasure buried by the tide pool. A beautiful song may literally be written into the arrangement of stones on the rainy beach. Because walnuts are found by fishing in the ocean, farming in the dirt, mining in the volcano, engaging in combat with slimes, digging in the sand, breaking wooden crates, and simply exploring the edges of the map, the Grand Walnut Hunt becomes a comprehensive tour of Stardew Valley's entire skill system. Farming, fishing, mining, combat, and foraging all become the distinct languages you must speak to fully understand the island. Some walnut discoveries absolutely require the player to find and read specific journal scraps first, especially certain buried treasures. This teaches us that knowledge truly matters before action. The player may stand in the exact correct spot on the beach for hours, but the story has to be learned, and the scrap must be held in your hand before the golden reward will ever appear from the sand. The island brilliantly includes both blatantly obvious rewards and deeply hidden ones, perfectly blending visible, easy goals with profound, obscure secrets. That beautiful blend is exactly what makes Ginger Island feel so incredibly alive. You can wake up and strictly plan a highly efficient route for the day, but you can also simply wander off the path and stumble beautifully into wonder. If your mind is still feeling busy, still trying to solve the problems of your waking life, let it solve absolutely nothing right now. Let every complex puzzle in your life become nothing more than a soft, simple shape in your mind. 4 stone pedestals, 5 wooden flute blocks, a hidden dirt path completely covered under soft green leaves. Nothing needs to be completed tonight. Every single secret in the world will wait, perfectly patient, until you wake up tomorrow. 25. Why Ginger Island feels like an ending and a beginning. Let us drift into the thought of why Ginger Island feels simultaneously like an ending and a beautiful new beginning. Keep your breathing easy, your heart steady and calm. The confirmed fact is simple. Ginger Island is heavily gated, late-game content, yet it introduces entirely new daily routines and sprawling projects rather than simply, abruptly concluding the old ones. This design is exactly why arriving on the island feels like a second glorious beginning. The tired, wealthy farmer who has already mastered the dirt, repaired the entire valley, and built their empire suddenly becomes new, humble, and curious all over again upon stepping onto the unfamiliar sandy shore. The island adds massive long-term goals to the game, such as gathering all 130 walnuts, unlocking every secret of Cheese Walnut Room, completely filling the field office fossil collections, perfecting the massive tropical farm, and slowly marching toward the true perfection tracker. Instead of offering one final abrupt victory screen that rolls the credits and ends the game, the island generously offers you many slow, distant, beautiful horizons to walk toward. Stardew Valley does not truly end, it simply deepens. When Leo finally makes his brave move from the isolated jungle to the Stardew Valley mainland, it shows that the island's story is actively affecting the emotional reality of Pelican Town itself. The new place irrevocably changes the old place. A shy, traumatized child from the distant Fern Islands becomes an integral, beloved part of the valley's school life and the quiet mountain community. The player is permitted to continue moving back and forth between the valley and the island indefinitely forever. This ongoing endless travel keeps both distinct places perfectly alive. There's never a strict need to choose only one place to call home. Stardew Valley simply becomes a larger, sweeping rhythm between 2 entirely different, deeply loved shores. Endings are so much softer in the world of Stardew Valley. A finished community centre bundle eventually opens a door to a boat. A repaired wooden boat opens the sea to an island. An island's mysteries open the door to a glowing blue room. A blue room points a finger toward absolute perfection, and even when perfection is finally achieved, it simply opens up a beautiful new view of the sky. The story never suffocates. It just keeps breathing, in and out, like the tide. 26. A careful lore reading. Let us drift deeply into the comfort of a careful, precise lore reading. Keep your breathing easy, letting the sheer simplicity of facts anchor your drifting mind. The confirmed fact is simple and perfectly clear. Confirmed lore states that Leo lost his parents to the sea and was subsequently raised by the brightly coloured parrots. However, the game absolutely does not explicitly state that these parrots are magical deities operating in a fully explained logical magical system. They speak, they build bridges, they offer cryptic hints, they participate vividly in the daily life of the island, but their exact scientific nature remains beautifully unexplained, firmly resting as a part of Stardew Valley's gentle, unbothered strangeness. Confirmed lore firmly places Ginger Island geographically within the Fern Islands archipelago, but it completely refuses to draw a rigid map of every single island in that vast chain. The wider ocean region remains mostly implied by dialogue, generously giving the player's imagination vast room to describe oceanic distance and maritime mystery, while staying perfectly honest about what is actually known. And confirmed gameplay clearly shows pirates visiting Pirate Cove on a strict schedule of even-numbered non-rainy nights. But the game does not fully explain exactly who these men are, who their captain is, or where their ship sails when they leave. That ambiguity makes them wonderful, atmospheric set dressing, but careful, restful narration should always avoid fiercely declaring them to be literal ghosts, or declaring them to be the specific lost crew from the journal, as if it were an absolute fact. Confirmed content links Old Birdie to a lost, beloved pirate husband through her specific questline, the pirate's wife. However, it does not offer definitive proof that the scattered journal scraps in the sand were written by his hand. This specific distinction actively protects the lore from a common anxious overreach. The connection is incredibly tempting to make, but the game leaves it unconfirmed, floating in the sea breeze. There is a profound, restful comfort in absolute accuracy. A story does not become weaker or smaller when we bravely admit what it does not explicitly say. In fact, it becomes much more trustworthy. The beautiful mysteries that remain are allowed to glow softly in the dark without being aggressively forced into a brightly lit shape. 27. The Sleepy Walk Home. Now, let us drift into the final sleepy walk back toward home. Keep your breathing easy, your eyes heavy, your body sinking down. The confirmed fact is simple. By the time Ginger Island is finally fully open to you, the player may have repaired the sprawling farmhouse, built the beautiful beach resort, blasted Professor Snail from the cave, befriended the shy boy Leo, completed Birdie's long quest of memory, conquered the blistering volcano, and confidently entered Chi's glowing walnut room. The vast island that once felt completely blocked by sleeping turtles and cryptic puzzles finally becomes deeply connected, thoroughly lived in, and intimately known. Yet, even then, the island never loses its atmosphere of magical distance. It forever keeps its warm rolling seas, its squawking colourful parrots, its hidden shadowy coves, its dark twisting jungle paths, and the soft red glow of the distant volcano. Knowledge does not ever destroy the mystery of this place. It only allows you to move through that mystery much more gently and with far less fear. Stardew Valley's grander themes of agricultural care, extreme patience, deep community, and environmental restoration all appear vividly on Ginger Island in a highly concentrated, beautiful form. The exact same generous heart that can clear a ruined farm of weeds and repair a broken, forgotten town centre is the same heart that helps a wild, tropical island slowly remember its own song. For a sleep journey, Ginger Island works perfectly because its lore is simultaneously incredibly cozy and quietly, beautifully melancholy. It gives the tired mind just enough story to follow, but not so much loud alarm or conflict that the brain cannot shut down and rest. The sound of ocean waves, the flutter of parrots, the mystery of old journals, the patter of soft rain on stones, and the glow of lanterns will happily do the rest of the work for you tonight. Yeah, so let's turn around and walk slowly back down the sandy path to the southern dock now. Do not walk quickly. There is absolutely no deadline to meet here. The beautiful island is behind us, and it is all around us, perfectly warm and completely full of little, guiding lights. Willie's wooden boat rocks gently at the pier, waiting patiently. The dark sea is calm enough for the sweetest of dreams. The deep, extended sleep drift, a slow return across the island. And now the island begins to grow very, very dim behind your heavy thoughts. This final section of our journey is intentionally much slower, much softer, and deeply repetitive. It is made specifically for the heavy, drifting part of the night, where you may already be half asleep. It does not add any new, complex lore for your brain to process. It simply revisits the confirmed places and the gentle themes from Ginger Island in a much softer, highly rhythmic, hypnotic loop. Let us make one slow, completely peaceful circle around Ginger Island. This is Circle 1. We do this not because anything more must be completed or conquered, but because gentle repetition can be so incredibly restful for a tired mind. The mind likes a familiar path when it is exhausted. It likes knowing exactly where the next soft step will land. So we begin again with the repaired boat behind Willie's shop, and we let the image be incredibly simple. There is no pressure here. There is no checklist. There is no desperate race toward perfection. There is only a warm, quiet island hidden in the Fern Islands, opened up to you only after the valley's great work is finally done, waiting patiently under the exact same generous starry sky. Think very softly of the old repaired boat floating behind Willie's shop. In the strict reality of the game, it belongs to Ginger Island's real, mechanical structure, not to a made-up legend. In the sleepy, dreaming version of the story, it simply becomes a calm, steady landmark on your way toward rest. You do not need to interact with it. You do not need to solve it, harvest it, fight through it, or optimize it. You can simply notice it, exactly the way a tired farmer might notice a warm, yellow light in a window while walking slowly home at night. The island holds that detail for you in its hands, and then it lets it pass into the dark. Think very softly of the first wooden dock sitting on Island South. In the strict reality of the game, it belongs to Ginger Island's real, mechanical structure, not to a made-up legend. In the sleepy, dreaming version of the story, it simply becomes a calm, steady landmark on your way toward rest. You do not need to interact with it. You do not need to solve it, harvest it, fight through it, or optimize it. You can simply notice it, exactly the way a tired farmer might notice a warm yellow light in a window while walking slowly home at night. The island holds that detail for you in its hands, and then it lets it pass into the dark. Think very softly of the giant, peaceful turtles that block the early sandy paths. In the strict reality of the game, they belong to Ginger Island's real, mechanical structure, not to a made-up legend. In the sleepy, dreaming version of the story, they simply become a calm, steady landmark on your way toward rest. You do not need to interact with them, you do not need to solve them, harvest them, fight through them, or optimize them. You can simply notice them, exactly the way a tired farmer might notice a warm, yellow light in a window while walking slowly home at night. The island holds that detail for you in its hands, and then it lets it pass into the dark. Think very softly of Leo's small, leafy hut hidden in the eastern jungle. In the strict reality of the game, it belongs to Ginger Island's real, mechanical structure, not to a made-up legend. In the sleepy, dreaming version of the story, it simply becomes a calm, steady landmark on your way toward rest. You do not need to interact with it. You do not need to solve it, harvest it, fight through it, or optimize it. You can simply notice it, exactly the way a tired farmer might notice a warm, yellow light in a window while walking slowly home at night. The island holds that detail for you in its hands, and then it lets it pass into the dark. Think very softly of the colourful parrots who happily trade their help for golden walnuts. In the strict reality of the game, they belong to Ginger Island's real mechanical structure, not to a made-up legend. In the sleepy, dreaming version of the story, they simply become a calm, steady landmark on your way toward rest. You do not need to interact with them. You do not need to solve them, harvest them, fight through them, or optimize them. You can simply notice them, exactly the way a tired farmer might notice a warm, yellow light in a window while walking slowly home at night. The island holds that detail for you in its hands, and then it lets it pass into the dark. Think very softly of the brilliant gem birds that appear magically in the warm rain. In the strict reality of the game, they belong to Ginger Island's real, mechanical structure, not to a made-up legend. In the sleepy, dreaming version of the story, they simply become a calm, steady landmark on your way toward rest. You do not need to interact with them. You do not need to solve them, harvest them, fight through them, or optimize them. You can simply notice them, exactly the way a tired farmer might notice a warm yellow light in a window while walking slowly home at night. The island holds that detail for you in its hands, and then it lets it pass into the dark. Think very softly of the unnamed sailor's torn journal scraps resting in the sand. In the strict reality of the game, they belong to Ginger Island's real mechanical structure, and not to a made-up legend. In the sleepy, dreaming version of the story, they simply become a calm, steady landmark on your way toward rest. You do not need to interact with them. You do not need to solve them, harvest them, fight through them, or optimize them. You can simply notice them, exactly the way a tired farmer might notice a warm yellow light in a window while walking slowly home at night. The island holds that detail for you in its hands, and then it lets it pass into the dark. Think very softly of old Birdie's quiet wooden shack facing the west beach. In the strict reality of the game, it belongs to Ginger Island's real, mechanical structure, not to a made-up legend. In the sleepy, dreaming version of the story, it simply becomes a calm, steady landmark on your way toward rest. You do not need to interact with it. You do not need to solve it, harvest it, fight through it, or optimize it. You can simply notice it, exactly the way a tired farmer might notice a warm yellow light in a window while walking slowly home at night. The island holds that detail for you in its hands, and then it lets it pass into the dark. Think very softly of the sprawling island farm where the turning seasons do not restrict the crops. In the strict reality of the game, it belongs to Ginger Island's real, mechanical structure, not to a made-up legend. In the sleepy, dreaming version of the story, it simply becomes a calm, steady landmark on your way toward rest. You do not need to interact with it. You do not need to solve it, harvest it, fight through it, or optimize it. You can simply notice it, exactly the way a tired farmer might notice a warm or yellow light in a window while walking slowly home at night. The island holds that detail for you in its hands, and then it lets it pass into the dark. Think very softly of the large gourmand frog remembering the taste of melon, wheat and garlic. In the strict reality of the game, he belongs to Ginger Island's real mechanical structure, not to a made-up legend. In the sleepy, dreaming version of the story, he simply becomes a calm, steady landmark on your way toward rest. You do not need to interact with him. You do not need to solve him, harvest him, fight through him, or optimize him. You can simply notice him, exactly the way a tired farmer might notice a warm yellow light in a window while walking slowly home at night. The island holds that detail for you in its hands, and then it lets it pass into the dark. Or think very softly of Professor Snail's brightly lit field office near the dig site. In the strict reality of the game, it belongs to Ginger Island's real mechanical structure, not to a made-up legend. In the sleepy, dreaming version of the story, it simply becomes a calm, steady landmark on your way toward rest. You do not need to interact with it. You do not need to solve it, harvest it, fight through it, or optimize it. You can simply notice it, exactly the way a tired farmer might notice a warm yellow light in a window while walking slowly home at night. The island holds that detail for you in its hands, and then it lets it pass into the dark. Think very softly of the broken dig site bridge, magically repaired by the parrots. In the strict reality of the game, it belongs to Ginger Island's real mechanical structure, not to a made-up legend. In the sleepy, dreaming version of the story, it simply becomes a calm, steady landmark on your way toward rest. You do not need to interact with it. You do not need to solve it, harvest it, fight through it, or optimize it. You can simply notice it, exactly the way a tired farmer might notice a warm yellow light in a window while walking slowly home at night. The island holds that detail for you in its hands, and then it lets it pass into the dark. Think very softly of the peaceful mushroom cave that appears after Professor Snail is freed. In the strict reality of the game, it belongs to Ginger Island's real, mechanical structure, not to a made-up legend. In the sleepy, dreaming version of the story, it simply becomes a calm, steady landmark on your way toward rest. You do not need to interact with it. You do not need to solve it, harvest it, fight through it, or optimize it. You can simply notice it, exactly the way a tired farmer might notice a warm yellow light in a window while walking slowly home at night. The island holds that detail for you in its hands, and then it lets it pass into the dark. Think very softly of the rumbling volcano dungeon resting in the hot north. In the strict reality of the game, it belongs to Ginger Island's real mechanical structure, not to a made-up legend. In the sleepy, dreaming version of the story, it simply becomes a calm, steady landmark on your way toward rest. You do not need to interact with it. You do not need to solve it, harvest it, fight through it, or optimize it. You can simply notice it, exactly the way a tired farmer might notice a yellow light in a window while walking slowly home at night. The island holds that detail for you in its hands, and then it lets it pass into the dark. Think very softly of the cool watering can making grey stone paths over the red lava. In the strict reality of the game, it belongs to Ginger Island's real mechanical structure, not to a made-up legend. In the sleepy, dreaming version of the story, it simply becomes a calm, steady landmark on your way toward rest. You do not need to interact with it. You do not need to solve it, harvest it, fight through it, or optimize it. You can simply notice it, exactly the way a tired farmer might notice a warm, yellow light in a window while walking slowly home at night. The island holds that detail for you in its hands, and then it lets it pass into the dark. Think very softly of the ancient forge waiting at the very top of the fiery volcano. In the strict reality of the game, it belongs to Ginger Island's real, mechanical structure, not to a made-up legend. In the sleepy, dreaming version of the story, it simply becomes a calm, steady landmark on your way toward rest. You do not need to interact with it. You do not need to solve it, harvest it, fight through it, or optimize it. You can simply notice it, exactly the way a tired farmer might notice a warm, yellow light in a window while walking slowly home at night. The island holds that detail for you in its hands, and then it lets it pass into the dark. Think very softly of the silent mermaid waiting for her puzzle on rainy days. In the strict reality of the game, she belongs to Ginger Island's real, mechanical structure, not to a made-up legend. In the sleepy, dreaming version of the story, she simply becomes a calm, steady landmark on your way toward rest. You do not need to interact with her. You do not need to solve her, harvest her, fight through her, or optimize her. You can simply notice her, exactly the way a tired farmer might notice a warm yellow light in a window while walking slowly home at night. The island holds that detail for you in its hands, and then it lets it pass into the dark. Think very softly of Pirate Cove, opening only after 8 on certain clear, even-numbered nights. In the strict reality of the game, it belongs to Ginger Island's real mechanical structure, not to a made-up legend. In the sleepy, dreaming version of the story, it simply becomes a calm, steady landmark on your way toward rest. You do not need to interact with it. You do not need to solve it, harvest it, fight through it, or optimize it. You can simply notice it, exactly the way a tired farmer might notice a warm yellow light in a window while walking slowly home at night. The island holds that detail for you in its hands, and then it lets it pass into the dark. Think very softly of the beautiful beach resort, bringing happy villagers from Pelican Town to the sand. In the strict reality of the game, it belongs to Ginger Island's real mechanical structure, not to a made-up legend. In the sleepy, dreaming version of the story, it simply becomes a calm, steady landmark on your way toward rest. You do not need to interact with it. You do not need to solve it, harvest it, fight through it, or optimize it. You can simply notice it. We are exactly the way a tired farmer might notice a warm yellow light in a window while walking slowly home at night. The island holds that detail for you in its hands, and then it lets it pass into the dark. Think very softly of Cheese Walnut Room and its glowing blue perfection tracker. In the strict reality of the game, it belongs to Ginger Island's real mechanical structure, not to a made-up legend. In the sleepy, dreaming version of the story, it simply becomes a calm, steady landmark on your way toward rest. You do not need to interact with it. You do not need to solve it, harvest it, fight through it, or optimize it. You can simply notice it, exactly the way a tired farmer might notice a warm yellow light in a window while walking slowly home at night. The island holds that detail for you in its hands, and then it lets it pass into the dark. Let us make one more slow, completely peaceful circle around Ginger Island. This is Circle 2. We do this not because anything more must be completed or conquered, but because gentle repetition can be so incredibly restful for a tired mind. The mind likes a familiar path when it's exhausted. It likes knowing exactly where the next soft step will land. So we begin again with the first wooden dock sitting on Island South, and we let the image be incredibly simple. There is no pressure here. There is no checklist. There is no desperate race toward perfection. There is only a warm, quiet island hidden in the Fern Islands, opened up to you only after the valley's great work is finally done, waiting patiently under the exact same generous starry sky. Think very softly of the first wooden dock sitting on Island South. In the strict reality of the game, it belongs to Ginger Island's real mechanical structure. In the sleepy, dreaming version of the story, it simply becomes a calm, steady landmark on your way toward rest. You do not need to interact with it. You can simply notice it, exactly the way a tired farmer might notice a warm yellow light in a window while walking slowly home at night. The island holds that detail for you in its hands, and then it lets it pass into the dark. Think very softly of the giant, peaceful turtles that block the early sandy paths. In the strict reality of the game, they belong to Ginger Island's real, mechanical structure. In the sleepy, dreaming version of the story, they simply become a calm, steady landmark on your way toward rest. You do not need to interact with them. You can simply notice them, exactly the way a tired farmer might notice a warm, yellow light in a window while walking slowly home at night. The island holds that detail for you in its hands, and then it lets it pass into the dark. Think very softly of Leo's small leafy hut hidden in the eastern jungle. In the strict reality of the game, it belongs to Ginger Island's real, mechanical structure. In the sleepy, dreaming version of the story, it simply becomes a calm, steady landmark on your way toward rest. You do not need to interact with it. You can simply notice it, exactly the way a tired farmer might notice a warm, yellow light in a window while walking slowly home at night. The island holds that detail for you in its hands, and then it lets it pass into the dark. I think very softly of the colourful parrots who happily trade their help for golden walnuts. In the strict reality of the game, they belong to Ginger Island's real mechanical structure. In the sleepy, dreaming version of the story, they simply become a calm, steady landmark on your way toward rest. You do not need to interact with them. You can simply notice them, exactly the way a tired farmer might notice a warm yellow light in a window while walking slowly home at night. The island holds that detail for you in its hands, and then it lets it pass into the dark. Think very softly of the brilliant gem birds that appear magically in the warm rain. In the strict reality of the game, they belong to Ginger Island's real mechanical structure. In the sleepy, dreaming version of the story, they simply become a calm, steady landmark on your way toward rest. You do not need to interact with them. You can simply notice them, exactly the way a tired farmer might notice a warm yellow light in a window while walking slowly home at night. The island holds that detail for you in its hands, and then it lets it pass into the dark. Think very softly of the unnamed sailor's torn journal scraps resting in the sand. In the strict reality of the game, they belong to Ginger Island's real, mechanical structure. In the sleepy, dreaming version of the story, they simply become a calm, steady landmark on your way toward rest. You do not need to interact with them. You can simply notice them, exactly the way a tired farmer might notice a warm yellow light in a window while walking slowly home at night. The island holds that detail for you in its hands, and then it lets it pass into the dark. Think very softly of old Birdie's quiet wooden shack facing the west beach. In the strict reality of the game, it belongs to Ginger Island's real mechanical structure. In the sleepy, dreaming version of the story, it simply becomes a calm, steady landmark on your way toward rest. You do not need to interact with it. You can simply notice it, exactly the way a tired farmer might notice a warm, yellow light in a window while walking slowly home at night. The island holds that detail for you in its hands, and then it lets it pass into the dark. Think very softly of the sprawling island farm where the turning seasons do not restrict the crops. In the strict reality of the game, it belongs to Ginger Island's real mechanical structure. In the sleepy, dreaming version of the story, it simply becomes a calm, steady landmark on your way toward rest. You do not need to interact with it. You can simply notice it, exactly the way a tired farmer might notice a warm yellow light in a window while walking slowly home at night. The island holds that detail for you in its hands, and then it lets it pass into the dark. Think very softly of the large gourmand frog remembering the taste of melon, wheat, and garlic. In the strict reality of the game, he belongs to Ginger Island's real mechanical structure. In the sleepy, dreaming version of the story, he simply becomes a calm, steady landmark on your way toward rest. You do not need to interact with him. You can simply notice him, exactly the way a tired farmer might notice a warm yellow light in a window while walking slowly home at night. The island holds that detail for you in its hands, and then it lets it pass into the dark. Think very softly of Professor Snail's brightly lit field office near the dig site. In the strict reality of the game, it belongs to Ginger Island's real, mechanical structure. In the sleepy, dreaming version of the story, it simply becomes a calm, steady landmark on your way toward rest. You do not need to interact with it. You can simply notice it, exactly the way a tired farmer might notice a warm yellow light in a window while walking slowly home at night. The island holds that detail for you in its hands, and then it lets it pass into the dark. Think very softly of the broken dig site bridge, magically repaired by the parrots. In the strict reality of the game, it belongs to Ginger Island's real mechanical structure. In the sleepy, dreaming version of the story, it simply becomes a calm, steady landmark on your way toward rest. You do not need to interact with it. You can simply notice it, exactly the way a tired farmer might notice a warm yellow light in a window while walking slowly home at night. The island holds that detail for you in its hands, and then it lets it pass into the dark. Think very softly of the peaceful mushroom cave that appears after Professor Snail is freed. In the strict reality of the game, it belongs to Ginger Island's real, mechanical structure. In the sleepy, dreaming version of the story, it simply becomes a calm, steady landmark on your way toward rest. You do not need to interact with it. You can simply notice it, exactly the way a tired farmer might notice a warm, yellow light in a window while walking slowly home at night. The island holds that detail for you in its hands, and then it lets it pass into the dark. Think very softly of the rumbling volcano dungeon resting in the hot north. In the strict reality of the game, it belongs to Ginger Island's real, mechanical structure. In the sleepy, dreaming version of the story, it simply becomes a calm, steady landmark on your way toward rest. You do not need to interact with it. You can simply notice it, exactly the way a tired farmer might notice a warm, yellow light in a window while walking slowly home at night. The island holds that detail for you in its hands, and then it lets it pass into the dark. Think very softly of the cool watering can making grey stone paths over the red lava. In the strict reality of the game, it belongs to Ginger Island's real mechanical structure. In the sleepy, as dreaming version of the story, it simply becomes a calm, steady landmark on your way toward rest. You do not need to interact with it. You can simply notice it, exactly the way a tired farmer might notice a warm yellow light in a window while walking slowly home at night. The island holds that detail for you in its hands, and then it lets it pass into the dark. Think very softly of the ancient forge waiting at the very top of the fiery volcano. In the strict reality of the game, it belongs to Ginger Island's real mechanical structure. In the sleepy, dreaming version of the story, it simply becomes a calm, steady landmark on your way toward rest. You do not need to interact with it. You can simply notice it, exactly the way a tired farmer might notice a warm yellow light in a window while walking slowly home at night. The island holds that detail for you in its hands, and then it lets it pass into the dark. Think very softly of the silent mermaid waiting for her puzzle on rainy days. In the strict reality of the game, she belongs to Ginger Island's real mechanical structure. In the sleepy, dreaming version of the story, she simply becomes a calm, steady landmark on your way toward rest. You do not need to interact with her. You can simply notice her, exactly the way a tired farmer might notice a warm, yellow light in a window while walking slowly home at night. The island holds that detail for you in its hands, and then it lets it pass into the dark. Think very softly of Pirate Cove, opening only after 8 on certain clear, even-numbered nights. In the strict reality of the game, it belongs to Ginger Island's real mechanical structure. In the sleepy, dreaming version of the story, it simply becomes a calm, steady landmark on your way toward rest. You do not need to interact with it. You can simply notice it, exactly the way a tired farmer might notice a warm yellow light in a window while walking slowly home at night. The island holds that detail for you in its hands, and then it lets it pass into the dark. Think very softly of the beautiful beach resort, bringing happy villagers from Pelican Town to the sand. In the strict reality of the game, it belongs to Ginger Island's real mechanical structure. In the sleepy, dreaming version of the story, it simply becomes a calm, steady landmark on your way toward rest. You do not need to interact with it. You can simply notice it, exactly the way a tired farmer might notice a warm, yellow light in a window while walking slowly home at night. The island holds that detail for you in its hands, and then it lets it pass into the dark. Think very softly of Cheese Walnut Room and its glowing blue perfection tracker. In the strict reality of the game, it belongs to Ginger Island's real mechanical structure. In the sleepy, dreaming version of the story, it simply becomes a calm, steady landmark on your way toward rest. You do not need to interact with it. You can simply notice it, exactly the way a tired farmer might notice a warm yellow light in a window while walking slowly home at night. The island holds that detail for you in its hands, and then it lets it pass into the dark. Think very softly of the old, repaired boat floating behind Willis' shop. In the strict reality of the game, it belongs to Ginger Island's real, mechanical structure. In the sleepy, dreaming version of the story, it simply becomes a calm, steady landmark on your way toward rest. You do not need to interact with it. You can simply notice it, exactly the way a tired farmer might notice a warm, yellow light in a window while walking slowly home at night. The island holds that detail for you in its hands, and then it lets it pass into the dark. The island can hold all of this safely for you while you sleep. Somewhere out there in the digital dark, Leo is safe in his bed. Somewhere, the bright parrots are tucking their heads under their wings, settling deep into the jungle leaves. Somewhere on the western shore, Birdie is listening to the endless rhythmic sound of the ocean, and Professor Snail is surrounded comfortably by his quiet notes and his ancient fossils. Somewhere up high, the volcano keeps its red, beating heart perfectly warm. The Evie Farm sprinklers have stopped ticking. They are quiet now. The sandy resort is totally empty of people. The hidden pirate cove is dark and silent. The star-shaped tide pool reflects a few perfectly patient stars. The wooden boat is waiting for you, but there is no hurry to leave. You can stay here in this quiet place for a little while longer. Let the warm, tropical air completely soften your heavy thoughts. Let the dark sea count the slow hours for you. Let every single Stardew fact we name tonight become less like a rigid note you have to remember, and much more like a smooth, heavy shell placed gently into the soft white sand. Leo, parrots, walnuts, journal scraps, birdie, fossils, volcano, mermaid, pirate cove, chi, farmhouse, rain. One by one, they can all gracefully fade, and if you're somehow still awake, that is perfectly all right. You can simply rest here with the island for a while longer. The lore will still be here when you wake up tomorrow. The sandy paths will still be open to you. The wooden boat will still rock softly back and forth at the quiet dock. I hope you sleep well tonight, farmer. Good night.